without any further ado, Igwe, thank you.
Thank you, Michael, and friends of Atheist United for inviting me to speak at this meeting. This is my first visit to the US and my first opportunity to address a free thought meeting here in the United States. I must thank Bobby for making it possible, while wishing her speedy recovery following the bone replacement. I'm inspired by Bobby's selfless service and sacrifice for the atheist cause. I've known her for almost a decade now, and I still remember vividly hosting Bobby and our late friend and former co-president of AU, hope I'm correct, Harvard in Nigeria in 2004, and working with Bobby at Atheist Alliance International to promote free thought activism in Africa. So friends, I have a growing history of working with Atheist United, and I hope we can build on that in the years ahead. Unlike many of us here, I was not born an atheist. I was born into a Catholic family in a rural community, rural, religious and superstitious community in southern Nigeria. In my village, being an atheist was not and is still not an option. For most people, being an atheist is a crazy idea, which no normal child, in quote, would entertain. But growing up, I witnessed firsthand the damage and darkness that could befall any society where superstition and religious fanaticism prevail. As you must have been following in the news, the dark and dangerous forces of religious fanaticism, bigotry, extremism, violence are ravaging my country, leaving blood, fears, death and destruction on their wake. Obviously, as a child, I didn't need any more proof for the harmful effects of religion. They were just there. So it's not a question of debate. Sometimes people spend time, let me see if I will know through the debate, through the arguments. No, it's there. And I'm going to show you some of this. Some of the, from the slides, you're going to see. I didn't need any lecture on the inefficacy of prayer or the unconscionable act of religious exploitation by God, men and women to be convinced that human beings can be good, in fact, that human beings can be better without believing in God, without belonging to any religion. I grew up battling with questions and doubts about the supernatural, because it's a belief that appeared to be everywhere and nowhere. People talk about them, but you can't feel it. Everywhere in my society was and is still charged with religious belief and with contradictions at the same time. So I was battling with the doubts about the existence of an afterlife. What that meant, actually. No communication. Oh, your dead grandparents are dead or dying somewhere. No communication. They can't even get us to know exactly that they are actually there or where we think they are. Doubts about the deity that intervenes or alters the course of nature and human life at will. I was attracted to going open and public with my doubts, but it was a frightful option, particularly as a child who was studying in the seminary and whom people expected to be a priest. So it was like I was having these doubts but I was in the wrong place. So it was a battle growing up. Friends, I weighed all the options, including that of suppressing those doubts and evil thoughts, and continuing my life as usual, like every other person. Because I had some of these colleagues, they would tell you, look, let's do what they said we should do. But what they said we should do was not going down well with me as an individual. I thought about remaining in the closet and not speaking out because of the risk involved. And they made the price of speaking, criticizing religion, so much as it is. It's still the same case today. If you criticize, no friend, no solidarity, no sense of community, and all that. So it's like, what is it? What's the motive? What's the incentive? Why do I do this? Everybody condemns you, everybody hates you for that. So why do it? People can also take decisions based on the fact that they don't want to offend or be alienated from their society. But I was seeing some contradictions. Yes, I found out that people actually appreciated that, but there's this kind of cage. They were being held hostage. So friends, I chose going open with my atheistic views despite the dangers, because I thought that was the only way for me to realize some meaningful life in a society bedeviled by faith-based moral anarchy. But I want to tell that I did not take that decision alone. I did not take the decision in one day, in 1 month, or in 1 year. It took me years to make up my mind. How? I was asking myself, how will I do it? How will I go about it? At what time? What strategy? That was what I was thinking, and I want to tell you that is still the case, the same case today. I drew inspiration from your history, from the lives and writings of American and European atheists. Yes, at least I read about Bertrand Russell. Yeah, the challenges he faced, I think, when he was appointed to teaching a university, I think here in the US or something like that. They told him he was irreverent. They described him in ways that no human being would actually, normally, quote, be described that way. What was it? Because he said the truth. Or he was saying the truth. Or he was saying what he thought was the truth, like every other person. I was encouraged to know that there were people of like minds who existed in this part of the world. I was emboldened by the activities and programs of atheist groups. So it's important to let you know that what you do here at Atheists United, what you do at the atheist movement here in the United States, inspire people around the world. You may not know, you may not feel it, but I want to let you know today that what you are doing here, lobbying, involving in politics, and trying to get the society to understand the importance, secular views, freedom views, those things that are inspiring people in a ways you may not feel or measure. But friends, I was not just contented, just going open as an atheist. I wasn't contented. Or being identified as a free thinker. For me, in my society, atheism is empty if it is not used for the betterment of humanity. Because that's where the problem is. Millions of people suffer and die for God's sake. They suffer and die in the name of God. Like these people, they are fighting. They believe they are killing. When they kill, they go to heaven. They're not interested on whom they kill. They're interested on what they're doing, whom they're killing, what the reward they're going to get from that. And that idea, we should not criticize it. We should not shine light on it. We should not help liberate people from that erroneous idea. For me, atheism has little or no meaning if it does not inspire us to improve the world and make it a better place. Atheism has little or no value if it does not inspire us to realize heaven here on earth. If these people could realize that that place, they think they're going is here, and drop their guns, and try to protect the people they're trying to kill, I mean, that is what atheism can do. Yes. You may have your own idea, but that is what I think. Because these people, they're holding my country hostage now. We couldn't hold a National Day activity in the open because of them. Nothing. They go to churches, people, they bomb, they throw grenades and whatever bombs into churches and things like that. And they will tell you they're fighting the cause of Allah. And there are teachings here and there that will make you to understand that these people are looking forward to inheriting some virgins in the hereafter. So friends, I wanted to make a difference. Yes, a little difference. I don't have this ambition. Some people will say, oh, do you want to change Africa? Do you want to change the world? No, that's not. That's not. But when I see people take up arms like this, I say they want to kill human beings because they want to go to heaven. Come on, give me a break. I'll call them and say, come, you want to go to where? I want to ask questions. I need clarifications. Yeah. So I want to make just a little difference. And that is that particular difference which only people with atheistic views, people who are God-free, people who are not burdened with belief in afterlife can make. I want to contribute to the growth and development of my society, to social change and progress, by addressing those problems caused by theism, religious fundamentalism, and superstition. That's my goal. Little progress along these lines. There were and there are still so many of such problems that plague my society. I didn't find it helpful going about just debating theists or religious people, whether God exists or not, or whether religion was a force for good or evil, whether superstition was innocuous or obnoxious. As important as these are and could be, I prefer letting faith and superstition-based problems that plague the society to argue for me, to make my case against blind faith, superstition, dogma, ignorance, name them. I prefer helping out where believers refuse to help. Like children will be there dying on the streets. They will say, oh, Africans value children, but they don't value a child when the child has been branded a witch. I want to let you know. Yes, we value children in quote, but immediately that child is branded a witch, they don't value that child again. And you ask yourself, why? There's a breakdown of morality, breakdown of conscience, breakdown of care because of superstition. So friends, I want to speak out where our religious friends keep mute. I would like to think aloud, particularly when it comes to those issues. Our religious friends prefer shutting down their thinking faculty. I prefer to act and shine the light on issues where believing folks refrain from action or turn a blind eye due to dogma, fanaticism, fear of causing offense, or the quest to inherit paradise in the hereafter. I would like us to sit, pause, and find out how many things people either do or fail to do just because they want to go to heaven. Humans can always find reasons to hold on to any belief or justify any action or position, no matter how stupid, destructive, or nonsensical, particularly when it comes to issues concerning the supernatural and afterlife. Yeah. If we keep quiet, they will still keep telling us these things, that they're going to inherit virgins, they're going to heaven, they're going to wear white garments, they're going to be singing and praising God. If we keep quiet, because they're talking about something we can't prove. So we have to keep shining the light. So like I said, I thought of using the faith-based problems to persuade people to wake up, to think and rethink, and to abandon the rational superstitious beliefs that are darkening our society. So I found this strategy very useful and effective, and I'm going to devote the rest of my talk to 3 of such problems: ritual killing, witchcraft-related abuse, and homophobia. Michael?
Fair enough.
There you go.
Now, last year, a hunchback woman was murdered by a ritualist in southern Nigeria. I come from southern Nigeria. Yes. So, killing human beings for ritual is that killing nobody wants to shine a light on. Like when you brand a child a witch, people don't want to think about it again. Now, immediately somebody is killed for ritual purposes, nobody wants to get involved because it involves the supernatural. That's the same problem. Suspected killers are arrested. They were arrested and are currently being tried in local court. They believe in the efficacy of ritual killing and sacrifice of human beings is common and widespread in my country. In fact, when I was 10, my 2 cousins came to our house and beat my father into a coma. What was the problem? Some people came and informed my father that they wanted to use my mother for rituals. That's enough. So my father, in quote, as superstitious as he was, I don't want to say stupid, some people might think, but superstition and stupidity, sometimes they tend to make people act stupidly. So he went and confronted the brother, that's my uncle. Oh yeah, I was told, they said, oh, your sons wanted to get rid of my wife, and all that and all that. So my uncle informed the sons, and the sons came back. So one morning, they knocked at the door. I opened the door. So they came into the room, and I left. I was just 10. So a few minutes after that, we were hearing some beating in the room and all that. So we ran to the place. They had locked the room from inside, and that was it. So we had to break the door. By that time, they had beaten my father into a coma. That was it. Many people died that way. I keep asking my father, what happened? My father never told me. It was just lately. I said, why did you go? When you hear things like that, you would have ignored them. But he took it seriously because of the kind of society, we belong to. So, that is the problem. But for this family, their own was much tragic. The woman was dragged to a nearby bush, butchered, and the haunch was removed. Because there's a belief that the haunch contains some magical potion which can make somebody rich. That's all. Sadly, the belief in supernatural beings, that supernatural beings can be appeased by some sacrifice, is common to Christians and Muslims. I said that when I said it, they attacked me. I said, go ahead and attack me. Go ahead and criticize me. Call me names. I don't care. Supernatural beliefs, all systems informed by supernatural beliefs are part of the problem. Telling us that whether you kill goat, cow, whatever they kill, sheep, and said, oh, we have to sacrifice it to a god, it's the same thing. Yes. So what happens is that maybe in the chain, they have, some people don't kill one, but they keep eyeing that one too. So in my society, when people look away, they kill that person. So just remember Abraham, who almost sacrificed the son as a demonstration of faith. Right now, I'm working with local contacts in the region. These are the kids. These are the children of the woman. To support the children. Yeah, this thing is moving faster than I wanted. Okay. This is the widow, the man. Then that's our local contact that visited the family. So friends, yes, we atheists have tried to intervene in this case by supporting the victims. Yes, we're trying to see if we can help pay their school fees and all that. But of course, no matter what we do, we can never replace their mother. We cannot play that role. So, but as you know, providing such assistance is not enough. We need to educate and enlighten Africans to abandon the superstitious belief behind this bloody practice. Not only the people with hunchback are hunted and killed, also those with albinism are targeted and killed by ritualists. in rituals is East, West, and Central Africa. We need to get Africans to understand that albinos and people with hunchback or any form of disability, they need love and care. We don't need to kill them. Yeah, but this message doesn't go down well. Why? Because of superstition. That they should be treated with dignity and respect. But superstition has corrupted the sense of care and compassion in my society. So Africa is in urgent need, not just of reason, a reason-based compassion. Yeah, because they tell us, is it the three virtues? Faith, is it? Hope, and charity, yeah? But they are not charitable to people when they are albinos. They're not charitable to people when they have hunchbacks. There's a breakdown of their sense of charity, conscience, and compassion. Now, witchcraft-related abuse. Believing witchcraft is another form of superstition that is killing Africa. First of all, let me thank all our atheist friends here in the US who spoke out against the visit of this notorious woman to the US. Yeah. The same, do you know what she did? The same poster she's been using in Nigeria, she just changed the name, the date, the venue, and put US there, hosting America and all that, and wanted to, is it import the nonsense, the poison, that's what I call it. She wanted to bring that here. So I saw it and I said, no, this will not happen. So I posted something on the internet, I sent out a release, and I was happy that people took up that campaign. So I want to thank all our friends who spoke out. Some posted it on their blogs and all that. So thanks to your efforts, Opabio did not step foot in this country to spread her gospel of witch hunting. This woman and other witch hunters have done so much damage to families and communities. Yes, they will tell you that if you're having marriage failure problem in your home is witchcraft. A child that talks in his or her dream is an agent of Satan, is a witch. If you're having problems with regard to success, disappointment, all that, witchcraft, everything witchcraft. So they have done a lot of damage to the society. Fueling torture, murder, inhuman and degrading treatment. Yes, this is the latest. Look at the date. That's 26, 27 of March 2012, this year. And look at the title. My father, that witch must die.
Yeah.
Yes. And you know where to get that from? Exodus 22:18, which states, suffer not a witch to live. Yes, I've been having that battle with Christians, and they will start twisting it. They keep twisting it. I say, look, there's no way you can change this verse. The best thing is that we should not we should not take everything literally. We should take this book like every other outdated old books written by people who are ignorant or something by our own standards, and that we should not just take everything. They are wrong here. Period. So, friends, Opabia and other witch hunters, they continue to grow their business empire. Yes, that was another church, yeah, that also had their own revival. So they continue to grow their business and profit, while children, elderly people suffer and are suffered to death. Yes. This is a poster released by Helen Opabio. He wrote a book, and the book on stormy prayers against witchcraft. So witch hunting is not only ravaging Nigeria, this violent campaign is sweeping across African countries. Ghana, Burkina Faso, Malawi. These are children, victims, tortured. Some were burned, some were beaten up. We don't know. This was some of them being taken care of were taken to the government house in a part of the country where they demonstrated. Then this was a child I helped rescue before, that was last year, Esther. Yeah. Esther was on his way to a child care center here. This is Ghana. In Ghana, in the northern part of Ghana, they have a particular place where women driven out due to witchcraft, where they settle. That's where they stay. This is Burkina Faso. In Burkina Faso, they call them mangeurs d'âme, soul eaters. If somebody dies in your family, you say, oh, that woman has eaten the soul of my child. Yeah. And it's always women. It's always women that eat the soul. Men, they don't eat the soul of children. And old women who are not active any longer, they are the ones that we eat. I mean, just look at it. I was telling somebody, I said, look, if somebody really wants to bewitch, is it an old, fragile-looking woman that will do that, or the one that is strong? So, but yeah. So this is the latest case we heard in the UK. So, friends, we have this sweeping across the continent, and with the case of Christy Barmo in the UK, no one should be surprised that such abuses could be taking place even here in the United States. Because it's a matter of how do you track it down. Yeah. When somebody beats up the child, due to the suspicion of witchcraft, or because the person thought that the child is a witch, how will you know? And that is why it is always difficult to track. So we cannot say, if you hear one case, for me, multiply it by 10. Yes. So that is why we have to be vigilant. Says we have to be vigilant because Fabio and other witch hunters have allies and followers here in the US. They were the people that invited her. She was here in 2010. So as in the case of ritual killing, witchcraft-related abuse is informed by the rational belief that some human beings can harm others using magical means. And this is a belief also found in Abrahamic religions. Though witch beliefs in Africa predate Christianity and Islam, witch hunting in contemporary Africa is reinforced by these faiths. Of course, I've made reference to Exodus 22:18 that says, suffer not a witch to live. Because I was traveling in communities doing public enlightenment. When I go to schools, children will ask me, what do you say about this verse? That Bible is the word of God. Do you believe in the Bible as the word of God? And if you believe in the Bible as the word of God, why don't you believe this? So that is it. These are the challenges, the layers of problems being created. Friends, the sad thing is that witchcraft accusation is illegal in many African countries, like in Nigeria, Ghana, Malawi, South Africa, and Kenya, and all that. But African states also have human rights legislation and mechanisms that make witchcraft-related abuses criminal. But these laws are not enforced due to the corrupting influence of superstitions and religions. I was at a workshop for lawyers, judges in one of the states, and a high court judge said, okay, I don't believe in how did he put it? He said I don't believe that children can be witches, but I know there are witches and wizards. I said, look, my Lord, there's a contradiction there. Get it? You see, this is a high court judge. He doesn't see the contradiction here, but he will see it in a court and convict somebody and convict that person. I said, my Lord, I raised my hand immediately. I said, objection, my Lord. He said, you have a right to object. You get it? So that is the case. Now, when you say it, some of them will tell you, "Oh, but you cannot prove that there are no witches." You know, they just twist the whole thing. I said, "You said there are witches, give me the proof. How can I prove negative? How do I prove negative? You said there are. Give me the proof." See it? So there's a problem. There's a problem there. And we have to identify that problem. And that is where I think we atheists, free thinkers, we have a very important role to play. So many African nations cannot combat witch hunting because of this. In fact, what we have in Nigeria, yes, this happened last year. These people were sentenced, convicted in a court, because they said that they kidnapped, they used witchcraft to kidnap somebody's spirit and kept the spirit for some time. The judge now told them to return the spirit in the law court. In this 24th century, I'm not talking about something that happened, you know, in a country, in another country, I read in books. I'm talking about in Nigeria. So they had to lie down some of whatever they did. That's something they did in court to return the spirit. They returned the spirit, and they now jailed them. They jailed them so that they will be sure that the spirit had gone back, so that they will now leave the prison. That's a conviction we had in Nigeria. And nothing. You know what? When these things happen, nobody cares. The journalists, they will just report it and go. That's all.
Are the journalists, some of them atheists or not?
Most of them are not.
Not.
Most.
Okay, that's it.
Yeah, and again, most of the media organizations are also owned by those who don't want to offend the religious sentiments. And when there is no line actually, but sometimes you can say there's a thin line between religion and superstition. There's no line. It's the same thing. So they don't want to be seen to be offending the sentiments. So you see them reporting this thing as if, in quote, it's reality. Because there is this challenge we're also having. They say, "Oh, witchcraft is real." I ask them, "What do you mean by the word real? Is it the belief or what is believed in?" Yeah. So now that's a situation we have in Nigeria where witchcraft accusation is a crime. But in places like Central Africa and Cameroon, witchcraft is recognized by the law. Witch hunting is legal. Wow. So that when there is a case of accusation, they will go and bring in a witch doctor to come and testify and do some, what we call in Africa, abracadabra. You know, to do certain things, and they will now identify, yes, she's the one. They will jail her. Then the judge, a modern 21st century judge, based on the testimony of a witch doctor, will convict the person. So that's the situation we have in Cameroon, Central Africa, and all that. So, but I must state that the situation is not all. What did I say?
Press hide.
Where is the hide?
I don't know, it's hidden.
Michael?
Was that towards the end of the slideshow? Or is there
No, it's not the end. It's not the end.
It's not the end.
It
Okay.
shouldn't be. Yeah. So, friends, it's not just all gloom and doom. Yes.
Do you have a hide button on your...
Yeah, because sometimes when I make presentations about the challenges we are facing, some of my friends will tell me, say, "You please try and tell us something encouraging, something not so depressing." Yes. So, but I want to tell you, it's not all gloom and doom. Now, I want to tell you the case in Malawi. I was in Malawi in 2000 for three times, 2009, 2010, I think 2011 or so. And when we went there, over 50 women were jailed for being witches. A child will confess that, "Oh, I saw this woman in my dream. She wanted to strangulate me. She took me in a magic plane." There's what they have in Malawi. There's what they call magic planes. Yeah, it took me in a magic plane and all that. Based on that, the woman is convicted. So I went there. Over 50 women were convicted. It was a report by one women's rights group. So I told our friends there, we have to strike. Yes, we have to strike, I told them. So it was like they were hesitant. You know, the government, the society, who will support us? Nobody. I said, look, strike and put it persuasively. There's a law backing you. So use the law and persuade the people. Then use the principles of reason to promote what the law is saying. Period. Within 1 year, over 50 women were released. Because the news went out. We put it in the, it was on BBC, it was on RFI, Radio France, everywhere. There was pressure on the government. They now, I think around 2 or 3 of them are still left in Malawi. So this is George, who is our contact person with some of the women released. Sorry. Now, this is also another case in the local community. The traditional chief, the chief there, is an atheist. So they went to this couple, the two at the middle there. They went to their house and they burnt their chairs, broke their bicycle, benches, and all that. They said they were witches that they used to move around in the night and things like that. So the chief did not believe in that. So he invited us, we came. We didn't want to engage the mob because the mob, in quote, does not reason. So what we did, we now raised some money, we replaced those things, the board. Then in front of the villagers and all that, we went to the village and we just went to the chief. So that's the house of the chief, and donated, gave them back the thing and told them to go. So we wanted to send a message. Not a message of confrontation, but a message of persuasion. This thing you people have done, you did something wrong. Go and think again. That is it. Sorry, I'll get back to this later. So friends, thanks to the efforts of humanists and free thought activists, we are trying to make some change. Like in Nigeria, we are doing public enlightenment in communities. So this is a clear example of that positive difference I talked about, which we can make, we as atheists can make in our society. Now the third and my last point is the issue of faith-based human rights abuses, particularly that of the homosexuals. Friends, all religions are primitive. When I say primitive, I mean that these are things they were written, these are codified, institutionalized. The texts were put together hundreds of years ago, thousands of years ago. And now they're telling us, oh, we should follow it hook, line, and sinker. We should just take it literal, we should believe everything. So those who started these religions, those who institutionalized them, lived centuries ago. But recently in Africa, politicians are making moves to tighten the laws against homosexuality. And ask yourself, for what? Has it anything to do with poverty? No. Has it anything to do with ignorance? No. Unemployment? No. Lack of infrastructure? No. What? Tell me the connection. They've been campaigning to make homophobia a state policy. In Nigeria, Uganda, Cameroon. They want to ban gay marriage in countries where homosexuality is a crime under the law. Because I told them, I said, look, what are you really after? In my country, homosexuality is already a crime in the law, and you want to ban gay marriage. What sense does that make? Yeah. Can gay marriage be valid in a country where homosexuality is a crime? So what are you after? That's the question. So, but many religious groups rallied, in support of the anti-gay marriage bill. They openly called for the execution of homosexuals. Oh yeah, okay, come on, okay, let's take it. Oh, we execute homosexuals like they're executing people, witches and wizards. Has that solved our problem? It can't put jobs. It can't give people jobs. It can't give them infrastructure. What? Fanaticism. It has a way of it has a way of corrupting people's mind, sense of balance and everything. So what reason are they giving us? They say, oh, the Bible says so. The Quran says so. Our religion says so. The divine laws and injunctions said so. So friends, you know what? Religions can no longer allow Nigerians and Africans to reason or think for themselves. They can't hold independent views. Before they say anything, before they hold a particular view, they have to ask, oh, what does my religion say? Oh, my religion says, okay, that's my view. That's the way people reason now. I don't know what, maybe there's another word to use for that. I don't think it's reasoning. Religion is hampering intellectual growth, moral progress. Most Africans cannot think outside the scriptural boxes of the Bible and the Quran. The reason is that most people in Africa still entertain this mistaken belief that these so-called holy books were revealed, written, and codified word of God. Hence, they should be accepted without question, revision, or reservation as humanity's absolute guide. That's a problem. Yes, because if they can read these things like any other book written in the past by people who had a vision of what the society could be, fine. I don't have anything against it. But when you tell me that, oh, it is a perfect being that revealed this, and you should not question it even when you have questions. No, give me a break. I have to. There's an issue there. There's a problem. Friends, let's face it. If we are to follow and believe as true and moral all that is written in the Bible and the Quran, there will never be peace in the world. Yes. Read the Deuteronomy, Exodus, read those books. Read the Quran. Kill, kill, kill. That's what we're reading. Kill. You know, those who do not do this, those who do not do that. If everybody should say, okay, let me follow what this Bible is saying, let me follow what this Quran is saying, there will be no peace. And we have to tell ourselves the truth and move on. So, these scriptures might have served as moral guides for some people who lived centuries ago. Definitely they cannot serve as absolute moral guides for us. Absolute. I also have the word absolute. I have a problem there when you say absolute. Yes. You are still telling me that we can't tinker with the boundaries. You know, and I have to know why. Yes. So friends, before I conclude, I would like to make reference to the case of Alexander Ayan in Indonesia. Has he been released?
No.
Who knows? You know about Alexander Ayan?
That's not.
Yeah?
No, exactly.
He has not been released.
No.
Good. You see, it's normal. You know, they just jailed him, and everywhere, Indonesia, everything is calm. No way. No way. Yes. What was his crime? That he posted something on the internet that God does not exist. Which is true. God does not exist. So we can't say the truth in many societies. And if you tell people in Indonesia today that, look, you can't say the truth, you don't support the truth because of this and that, they say, oh, you are inciting people. You are inciting, is it Muslim or Islamic hatred of Muslims and all that. So friends, this is totally unacceptable. And I want to say it here today, and I want to put it on record, that in Indonesia and in many parts of the world, that free thinkers have two options: to be in jail or to be in the grave. It is totally unacceptable. Part of the reason for the terrorism in the world today and for the crisis and conflict is because many religious network and lobby groups want their outdated biblical Quranic teachings to be the basis of our education, legislation, public policy, social norms, and human rights mechanisms. And that is why a new dark age looms. Saudi Arabia, immediately they convict anybody for witchcraft, they behead the person. It's life as usual. They'll just put it on the news for maybe a day or two, and that's the end. Now Alexander is languishing in jail just for posting something on the internet. Not on the government, not on the mosque. Say Allah does not exist. Yeah. Even when you post it there, as far as I'm concerned, that you put a house and says that a being that is not corporeal is living here, means that you're even saying that being doesn't exist. So what I'm saying here now is this. He didn't do that. He posted it on the internet and he's languishing in jail. No. So friends, a new dark age looms. And that is the more reason why we as atheists or free thinkers, as lovers of freedom and human rights, must rise once again and answer this call to duty. It's a call which many people out there cannot answer because of theism, supernaturalism, because of fear of God, which they said is the beginning of wisdom. I've never seen wisdom that can come out of fear of God. I don't know. I don't know what kind of wisdom is that. Maybe the wisdom of sending Alexander to jail. The wisdom of beheading alleged witches in Saudi Arabia. The wisdom of the Boko Haram in Nigeria. That's the wisdom maybe that can come out of it. People cannot answer that call because of the fear. Fear of the unknown. So, friends, it is a call. Or we atheists to work and campaign once again, to educate, to enlighten and awaken people once again. It's a call for us to marshal the free thought, courage and resolve. To lobby, to persuade, to organize, to conscientize, to mobilize, to further and foster the cause of a new enlightenment. Here in the US, in Africa, and around the world. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, we're going to be taking some questions in a little bit, but I just wanted to point out something that we're going to do today. We are going to take the donations that are made today, and we're going to donate it to causes that directly influence and help people in Africa and with Leo's organization to prevent this and to help stop this. So the donations that are in this jar today, the donations that you'll be providing if you want to use a credit card or some other means, will be going directly to the organizations that will help stop this and help stop these atrocities. And one of the things that struck me was in many parts of the world, you have two options if you're an atheist or a free thinker. You're either in the ground or in jail. Yeah. And if you're in jail, you're probably getting a daily beating. I mean, that's not the peaceful alternative. Yeah. So it's really powerful, really powerful. We can do a question and answer right now. So if you guys have any questions, just raise your hand. Let's start right there.
Yeah, thank you very much for sharing your experience with us. When you were speaking, I was wondering if in Nigeria or in Saudi Arabia, are there a set of objective standards for determining whether a child or a woman is a witch, or is it more of a mystical pronouncement by a powerful religious figure?
Well, it varies. The witchcraft belief is informed by misconceptions, which people accepted as the basis, the standards. Like dreams. You know, somebody comes out and says, "Oh, I was in a dream and I saw this woman, this man," but like I used to say, men, mostly women. Children will not come out and say, "Oh, I saw this man." There are rare cases. So I was in a dream, I saw this woman pursuing me, she wanted to kill me, and all that. Those things are taken as, is it evidence or something? What do they call it? Those lawyers can tell me better what is evidence. Yeah, I don't want to associate it with evidence because it doesn't have the power of evidence at all. Yeah. So, but it's acceptable in court. And based on that, somebody could be convicted. And of course, based on some kind of mob pressure. Yeah, because most times people come around and say, "Oh yeah, that woman killed her." Because actually there are two alternatives. Like we were saying. Either you send the woman back to be killed, cold-bloodedly by the people, the community, or you put her in jail. So what happens is that some of these judges in quotes will say, "Oh, in order to save her life, let's put her in jail." Yeah, that's it. So the witch doctors, they cook up something which they say in court to confirm that, and the confection by children and all that. So
if
you moderate.
The one in the back there.
Thank you again for speaking. It was really moving and powerful. Telling your first-hand encounter of this. I have two parts to the question I have. Do you think that that the Judeo-Christian religions are helping promote the religious killings? Like before that was introduced, was there already ritual killings? And the second thing is, if they are helping promote the killings, do you not think by the same standard of Christian charity, do you think they can help along with the secular movement, stop just ritual killing in general? I met someone who was on missionary work, and she was a Christian, and she did not seem like she'd be the one who would help promote ritual killing. She seemed just like anyone else, just with the only thing is that she had beliefs in God. And I think if, and maybe you might disagree or might agree that the ultimate people who go there for missionary work or are helping promote that are opposed to killing in general. So just your thoughts on that second part.
You see, first of all, it takes some critical evaluation for one to understand the baggage, that comes with Christianity. There are two perspectives, from here and from Africa. I attended mission schools, most of them. Yes. I spent most of my years in seminary, Catholic seminaries. And I saw it there. Now let me give you just one example. We appeared before a commission of inquiry on the issue of witchcraft abuse in the state, and a Catholic priest was invited. There was this kind of tension. Everybody wants to push you to the atheist camp. It was atheist versus theistic camp. And in my country, when they call you an atheist, it's like they call you a very horrible person. That's it. So what Helen Obabio and the lawyers were doing at the camp was, he's an atheist. That was when I was addressing the commission. He's an atheist and all that and all that. So everybody was kind of trying to avoiding being branded an atheist or being called an atheist, and also being associated with this belief. So you see everybody struggling with it. I had no problem with it. You get it? Call me an atheist, fine. That's what I am actually. But what I'm saying, that call me an atheist in that sense, that comes with some kind of hatred and all that. So let me quickly go to that. So the priest, when it was his turn, the Catholic priest, they asked him, "Do you believe in witchcraft?" Look at his answer. He paused for some time and said, "Look, as an individual, no. As a church, yes." Yeah. Can you see it? So that's the complications. I am not, like I said, I was discussing with our colleague Norman. People say, "Oh, you have an agenda." I don't have any agenda. When people appear too stupid and say contradictory things, I have to point out that this thing is contradictory. I don't have an agenda. The agenda is that this thing is contradictory. And don't tell us this because you create more problems for the society. Everybody was confused, and I laughed because I grew up in the seminary. Priests as individuals are different from priests as you see them in the church. Yeah, they're different. Most of them, I don't want to generalize, most of them are atheists or agnostics. No, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Most priests are agnostics or atheists, but they're in the closet. But professionally, they are theists. They have vested interest in those things. Most of them don't believe in faith healing. They're so annoyed with that. But others are there doing it because they get some money and things like that. So let's not go to that. I'm telling you that they are creating problems for us. Yes, they built our schools, but what are they teaching there? That's it. They build hospitals. What are they also saying? As they are curing you, giving you medicine, they're also praying for you. So you go out. Which one is really helping me? Is it the prayer from the priest or the medicine? So that's a confusion. They are creating confusion. But the earlier we highlight this, the better. But in most society, because of the help they bring in, they cannot really confront them with all this, with these contradictions. Second question was that, can they stop?
Yeah, could the same people who are providing aid, especially I'm talking about this girl that I met like 2 weeks ago. She was on a missionary mission. And, she was, she seemed like, bubbly Christian, peace and love, and Jesus loves and Jesus saves. And if you get those people to just shed light upon, like, well, this is another aspect of what your religion is doing. Your religion is helping promote ritual killing. Like, why don't, is there a part of the secular movement and in the different continents and countries in Africa that are trying to use those particular people who aren't bred or aren't born with that superstitious witches, witchcraft, are you guys trying to use those people who are thinking more logically or more reasonable to help promote the awareness and stop the ritual killing? I mean, I think it.
Yes, I'm working with some local groups who are against this. But you see, it's because I don't have any a better group to work with, I must tell you. Because one of the groups, we appeared on the television, and he was saying that, oh no, children could not be witches because children did not understand what witchcraft was all about, that it's only adults that practice witchcraft. I felt like jumping out of the, because the thing was covering both of us, and this was, I did that after a lot of pressure from one of my colleagues, because he was telling me, look, Leo, you can't do this thing alone, try to engage other groups. But you see, like I told you, I don't like this one leg here, one leg there. Look at it, this is a clear issue, take that position. But you see it, so that's my challenge. I'm ready to work with anybody. You get it? But you see, but not when I appear on television with you, you will be saying this thing, and it will be as if I'm there, and I'm endorsing it. Honestly, I felt hot, and the lady who moderated the television pointed out the contradiction, which made me sad, I must tell you, and I keep remembering this because of the pain I had at that point. So that's the problem. You get it? Now, Jesus died on the cross. Does that missionary believe that? The missionary, he believes that Jesus died on the cross. For what?
Well, I try not to talk
Good.
about it. I avoided, and I just said, you know what, that's your belief, that's nice, but but to me it's a contradiction that God himself came to kill himself and sacrifice himself to himself.
Good.
And it just stopped there. We didn't talk after that.
Sorry, my friend, but it doesn't sound like he's going to be around long.
Yeah.
You see, that is the problem. That's the same problem. You get it? Now, he will come and say, oh no, I don't believe in rituals and all that. But you see, there's a man that was killed and he died on the cross. And his death brought us salvation. And he's like, oh, somebody's dead. Somebody was killed could get us salvation. Yeah. So why is a hunch? Why would a hunch not get us good luck? Why? So that is it. So why would the hunch not get us good luck? So that's the thing. It's the same irrational platform. Whether it's Jesus or the woman, it's the same thing. But you see, it takes, I don't know how to say it takes some insight. If I should say, it takes some free-thinking, atheistic, skeptical insight for people to understand that a missionary who is going to preach Christianity in Africa and traditional Africans who still believe in ritual sacrifice, they are on the same irrational platform. Period.
I'll get this one and then we'll come to you first.
I just sort of want to make a comment and maybe a question too. First of all, thank you for your amazingly moving. I come from a Muslim background. I was born into a Muslim family, and I'm an atheist. But it was nice to hear that a lot of people think it's just the Islamic people that do this, and I just want to point out, it is very uncomfortable for me to say that I don't believe in God, and the people that I interact with on a daily basis are intelligent people. They're engineers, they're scientists, and like you say, even if the conversation does come up, and I bring up these things, they look at me exactly like what you said. But have you read this part? Have you seen this part? There's evidence. There's this, there's that. It's very uncomfortable for me. So I sort of change the subject. I leave the room. I don't know how to even contribute to that way of thinking. There's movies I've seen, I don't know if you've heard of Zeitgeist. There's other sorts of amazing movies that when you watch, you maybe touch a sort of an area that, but even when they watch that, they're like, oh, this is gibberish, I can't believe it. They're so frightened of the idea of no God being there. They're scared. Oh my goodness, if there's no hell in heaven, then what am I going to do now, right? So I just, that's my comment. It's really tough for me. I know,
Yes,
that's what I do.
I agree with you. You got it? And I have some friends in Nigeria from Muslim backgrounds, atheist friends. And it's tough. Actually, in northern Nigeria, we cannot hold a meeting. In northern Nigeria, if we hold a meeting, we won't survive the meeting.
But I mean, even in Southern California. It's tough.
Yeah, good.
Okay.
So that is it. So it's as bad as that. Do you know why? Here. Because what I
You
can
fire
you get on the
button?
slide
Yep,
again?
yep.
Yes. Yeah. What I didn't show you. Right now, I'm in the Department of Religion in the university, and of course, many of my friends will say, "Look, Leo, you're in the wrong place." You get it? Well, I must tell you that it's fun. Yeah, because I told them when I was introducing, I like talking about religion. Because it's like, for me it's fun, it's entertainment, you know. Yeah. Tell me that a God spoke and wrote a book, you know, it's fun. For me it's fun, completely. Yeah. Different books, different names, in different original languages, by conflicting groups, believers who find themselves, and all that. So, for me it's fun. Yeah, yeah, so I'm in the department. Okay, yeah, then, yeah. So, I'm doing some work on witchcraft accusation, and all that, and also contributing to debates, and all that, and when it comes to religion and all that. So, it's a lot of work, yeah, or a lot of challenge when it comes to engaging Islam. When we're talking about witchcraft in Africa, everybody will be out. Yes, it's irrational, it's this. So, but I told them it's the same thing, whether you call it Christianity or Islam. Everybody will now keep quiet. Yeah. So nobody wants to extend the critical thinking, critical evaluation to the teachings of Christianity or Islam. Yeah, but I leave them there. People ask me, I said, I leave them there. Yes, I leave them there because when we are doing the critique of witchcraft, we try to be very thorough. Then we send the message. Yes. Yeah, sometimes they ask me about Islam. I said, well, we are in a witchcraft class. So when we come to the Islamic class and these issues come up, I will also answer it the best way. So I know there's a lot to be done there, and it's very dangerous. Let's just say it. The price is a lot. There's a lot of price on maybe criticizing Islam, but when you also read about the Middle Ages, the witch hunting era, the history of the church, Catholic Church or Christianity, heresies, the Inquisition, and all that. You find that, for me, I just call it Islamic Inquisition. I think that Islam is also undergoing some kind of a bit of it, of what Christianity underwent maybe in the Middle Ages. They may not accept it. They don't need to accept it. I'm just trying to find a way to accommodate them and make them to understand that they should hurry up and come into the 21st century. Yeah. So that is it. I know it's challenging, and I don't even have a solution. You get it? I know it's a lot of risk, you know, and I don't like putting people at risk. Like now, one of them is on our list. She goes by a kind of a pen name or something, no, not her real name, and all that. And many of them are like that, just because of safety and family, people and all that. So, but I know that from there, it takes some time. We will get there. We will get there. But I don't know how many of us will get there.
You wanted the projector, it's back on.
Yeah. Yeah, what I wanted to show you, mine. Oh, that should be the next one. Should be the last. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. This is Akiola. What he said about homosexuality.
Profitable.
Yeah.
Right, unprofitable. That's really where it's at.
Yeah. That's Akiola and all that. Yeah. So.
They're on the side of the capitalists.
Yeah. Then this is the Boko Haram. That's their motto or something. Western education is sin. Yeah, but they use bombs. Huh? They use bombs. Yeah, and all that. So, and they use cell phones, and they upload this on the internet and all that. So, and you know, if you engage them in this kind of debate, it's useless. You know, but that's it. That's a contradiction. Yeah. Yes. So this is my research. So this is the research I'm doing now, and we're working on it. We're shaping it because my professors at the university, they were following what I was doing, and they decided to give me an opportunity to do the work. They gave me scholarship for 1 year, so which is ending in September, and we're trying also we're looking for funds. Do you know what? In Germany, we have the DAT. We call it the Dutch Scholarship Agency, Research Agency. They call it that. Then we have CAT, the Catholic Agency. That's the same funding Dutch government gives. Catholic has the funding. Then we have another one for evangelicals, for Protestants. So when you come, they'll ask you, are you a Catholic? You say yes. They say you should apply to your card. You? Then if you're a Protestant, you apply to this. So it came to my turn. My professor asked me, said, Leo, You can't apply to any of this. You get it? So I think that it's important we understand this, not just for my sake. Yeah, because yes, we are trying to get some funding within the next 3 months, but it is important we understand that many people sometimes are Catholics because of things like this. Many are Protestants because of things like this. Many of them can't think freely because many of my colleagues, are all free thinking, but you say they're undercut because they need the funding to go through their things like that. So it is important we understand this, that these are also strategies they are also using to undo some of the gains or whatever we have made, by producing intellectuals who at the end of it all will keep promoting whatever they stand for, even when individually they don't agree, with those things. Yeah, so I will join our atheist movement to think about supporting, atheist students, not just me. Yeah, atheist students, research along this part and all that. So that if you're an atheist, you will not be told, oh, if you're not out of the closet, that was my supervisor. If you were not out of the closet, I would have asked you to apply to CAT. So and all that. And sometimes it's really very tough, to be told that you can't qualify for this option which is there, maybe because of that and all that. So that's one of the things I said, okay, I'm going to draw attention to, in the course of my trip
Leo,
here.
have you written any books?
Yep.
Have you written any books?
Not yet, but a lot of articles.
Well, it seems like you've got one. It's ready to go. You could just, you could get it written. Wow.
Up front here.
I also have been around social circles where it's really conservative now, and and it reminds me of the book by Chris Hedges called American Fascists, and he said that there are people killed over here, secular humanists, and he talks about in that book, a lot of people say no one is killed over here for their views, but Chris Hedges says in that book, American Fascists, he talks about the preachers in the Dominion Church. He said they use the apocalypse all the time, and they say the heretic will be smashed, or whatever, smoke the heretic. And then he says that in that church, the parishioners have killed people, not that it's sanctioned openly at all. And then he also says that other churches know about this, they do not condone it completely, but then they never turn them in but they know that it happens.
Yeah, I agree with you. You see, there's one thing they were telling us about research. They call it ethnography. They say you should go to a community, live with them, interact with them, interview them, then you document, you generate what they call empirical data. And sometimes you see anthropologists, they will go for 1 year or 2 years, and they will come in with a document. I told them I did ethnography in the seminary for over 10 years. So immediately you say something, it triggers. You see, when it comes to issues like this, talking about religious-based abuses, is subtle. It's a very subtle thing. Like in my family, the wife of my late uncle was suspected of being involved in some local occult things. Yeah, she was never liked. You get it? And when people they suspect you of that, they may not kill. They you know what they do? They kill you slowly. Yes, they kill you slowly. You are isolated, you are abandoned, you are allowed to die. Or that's what they say you see your death. You see. So that is it. So that's why I say I agree with you. You get it. So, and when you go and you are promoting that a book where they say smite them, kill them, and you are telling us after that you say this is the word of God. And the person goes home and says, this is what God said we should do. Those people are, I was telling somebody, because when they were considering the bill, the resolution inciting hatred against the resolution on defamation of religion or something. The one at the UN, I don't know whether all of us read, heard about it. Yeah, Pakistan brought it. Pakistan, I told them Pakistan is a world exporter of terrorists. Yes, that's my view. I can be wrong, please. That's my view. I don't know what they're doing at the UN, talking about inciting hatred against Muslims. They should go home and face the problems. Yes, they are creating a lot of problems for the world. And they're coming to the UN to tell us that you shouldn't say anything that you're inciting hatred. I told them that they should read the Quran and the Bible, and you will see chapter after chapter with the verses inciting hatred against unbelievers, against this. Woe to these people. Woe to them here. This is, and people will read those things, and that helps shape their sense of judgment. You see, and that's helped shape their attitude toward those people. They say you should either kill or be careful, avoid them, you should have nothing to do with them, and all that. So that is it. And that is why we have to still look deeper. We have to really examine these books, these texts, because that is the only way we can point out these things and slowly win people over in terms of the kind of bad influence they have on that. Yeah.
Sorry. No, if you go ahead.
Do you, talking about larger agencies, do you see any hope? I just read the UNICEF report on this very thing. And can the United Nations, or is there some leverage that is out there that can help your effort there, or is it too complicated?
United Nations is being managed by human beings. Yes, because that is a mistake sometimes we make. I agree with you, we can get help from agencies, but I'm going to give you a practical example. Excuse me. That was in 2009 or 2010. I was coming back from Malawi. So I was coming back from Malawi angry because I went to the prisons where the women accused of witches were kept. I was angry. Yeah. Yes, I'm actually angry with many things happening there. So, luckily for me, in a way, I was sitting with a staff of UNICEF in Malawi. So I asked, I said, what are you people doing? That look at it, this is a case of women and children are involved, because many of these children either have children or grandchildren or something like that. That they tie the needs of women and children together. I said, what are you people doing? You know what she told me? That I should know that this thing has to do with the culture of the people. Friends, I want to tell you today, witchcraft-related abuse is not our culture. When you drive women out, you call them witches and wizards, is not our culture. That's what I tell people. So that's a problem. The people who are managing these agencies, yeah, they also have that mentality. So they don't want to get involved. Now, recently, that was in 2010, UNICEF released a report, which I criticized. Now I read it. The objective of the report is this: to investigate the complexity and the diversity of witchcraft beliefs. Friends, we don't have a problem with the complexity of witchcraft beliefs. We don't have a problem with the diversity. We have a problem with what? Veracity of the claims. They wrote a big report, little substance. They never helped us. Yes, they publicize it. You know the normal thing they do. They publicize it. Oh, UNICEF has released their report. You will go and read it. They'll be talking about the diversity and the complexity. And these are the problems I have with my professors at the religion. I said, many of the research work on religion are useless. They get angry. I said, look, when I read it, I want to find out the truth. You will still see them rigmaroling. They tell us the situation in Congo, tell us the situation in Nigeria, tell us the situation in Malawi. And what do we do with those situations? The problem we have in Africa is that, can a child under any form hurt the parents, grandparents, magically? UNICEF has no answer to it. And as long as you don't have answer to it, forget it. Write all the report and fill this room. You are writing rubbish. After all, So that's the case. UNICEF can help if they have the will to address this problem. And they have it. What I'm saying, they have all the resources. Bring people together. Let's look at this. Let's address those claims. Dreams. Explain to Africans that when you dream, you are dreaming because you are not, when you are sleeping, you are not dead. Yeah, your brains are still there. And all that. And that when you, some of the things you experience when you are awake, they swim around, your mind and things like that. So explain these things. Basic explanation of dreams. Basic explanation of diseases. Basic explanation of deaths in families. That's all. Immediately somebody dies in family, they say, this is not ordinary. Witchcraft has come in. Yes. Immediately they say this death is not ordinary. Yeah. And most deaths are not ordinary. That's a problem. So those are basic explanations. The report of UNICEF do not address it. But if they can move further and do it, they will save lives. And they will help us in this cause. Otherwise, they will still be at the periphery like the priest. As individual, he doesn't believe. As a church, he believes. As UNICEF, they don't believe, in quote. But as individuals, UNICEF staff, they believe. So that's the kind of thing. And when they produce a report, that report has no direction, has no focus.
So you think the bottom line is just teaching rationalism?
Yeah, when you say teaching rationalism, of course, you scare so many people who think that, rationalism comes with atheism and all that. Evidence-based knowledge. Yes, evidence-based knowledge. That's what I'm saying. Critical evaluation. Let your conclusions be derived as through critical evaluation of beliefs. That's all. So whether you call it rationalism, skepticism, science, whatever you call it, yeah. So because there are people that for whatever reason they don't want to answer rationalists, they don't want to answer free thinkers, they don't want to be associated with that, but they're involved in making decisions in the society. So we should find a way also to market rationalist thoughts to them. That's it, for the benefit of the society.
And I like that idea too, because when you say I'm a rationalist, and that just immediately puts the other person on edge, thinking, "What? So now you're telling me I'm irrational?"
Yes, yeah.
And so they're immediately defensive with that, where evidence-based is just the way you're going through the critical thinking. So we're just going to sweep around across the room that way. So we'll go next here.
Hey, you alluded to this idea that maybe we're on the verge of a new dark age in Africa and some other parts of the world. I'm wondering why it is you think, if you mean that this problem is getting worse, if superstition, witch hunting in Africa are increasing as a problem, and what, if that's the case, what are the other sort of social and cultural factors that contribute to that?
First of all, you see, I like using this analogy or something, because I have that problem with some scholars in the religion department. They just told me that something like progress, that human society doesn't have that. But you see, in order to sound a bit persuasive, in order to get people to understand that there are things we actually don't need to be discussing right now. Like people talking about magical planes in Malawi. Yes, I had a heated debate with Malawians over magical planes, and they were banging their hands on that there were magical planes. I told them, I said, come on, if you have a magical plane, you save my money. You give me, I want to go back to Nigeria in a magical plane. I told them that. So it's not like, I'm trying to dismiss it. I challenge it. It's cheaper. And I think it might be faster too. If you don't, I don't know whether it will be safe. That's another thing. We need to test all those things. But I don't know how I'm going to do it. So what I'm saying there is this. We talked about the history of Christianity and Catholic Church, killing heretics and all that, and the witches. We talked about as a dark age or something. So I'm trying to draw some kind of parallel between what happened then and what's happening now in many parts of Africa. And when we talk about what happened under Christianity, medieval Christianity or whatever, or early modern Europe Christianity, and what is happening today, for instance, in Indonesia, where if you say God does not, I'm not sure whether he said it in Allah does not exist. I think I said I saw God. When somebody wrote God does not exist, the person goes to jail. Somebody goes to jail for saying God does not exist. Yeah, I don't think there's light in that age. I can't see the light there. So that is why I'm saying that it's like somehow what is looming now is a situation whereby we're getting back to that kind of thing. Because Christianity, if you say something, they say it's heretics and they're killed. Yeah, and today it's not like let's say the early modern Europe era. We have the internet, so we're not talking about something. We're talking about something that spreads around the world. Like now, the activities of Boko Haram is spreading. Boko Haram is getting the arms and ammunitions, the technical support from the Al-Qaeda. Yes, it's only lately they're acknowledging it. You get it? But from the one, I knew that these Nigerian dudes or whatever they call themselves, they have some international support. So we're looking at a situation now whereby there's a flow of information, flow of support. That wasn't the case before. So that's why I'm talking about is one that is global now. Unlike the one that happened, they say is Europe. Europe, Enlightenment, Europe, Dark Age, Christianity. So we're talking about something global now. So that's why I'm just trying to wrap it with that kind of description that yes, it's a new Dark Age. So it's something that is threatening everybody. Of course, we had experience of September 11 here and things like that, and then we have other experiences elsewhere, like what is happening in my country now and all that, and you see some people supporting it, even in my country, telling you it has to do with poverty, it has to do with marginalization, it has to do with oppression. Okay, if you are poor, then you take up guns and you start shooting everybody. If you are marginalized, you take up guns, you start shooting everybody. If you are not happy with the American policy, then you take up bombs and start. I said no, don't support this. And scholars, you see scholars arguing in support of positions like this, just for the sake of argument. I told them, like in my university, I don't make an argument for the sake of argument. No, if that argument doesn't sound like something I can really be proud of openly, forget it. Even though it sounds, maybe reasonable and all that. So that is it. So what we're facing today is global, more than what we faced before, and it's something that threatens, all the societies, unlike what we had before. So that's why I'm describing it that way.
Do you think that there's any correlation in Africa to the fact that belief in God is dropping in other parts of the world? I mean, it may not be that noticeable yet in places like the United States, but in the U.S. and certainly Europe, there's an increasing trend of people who are doubting religion. Is there any of that going on in Africa, even if it's sort of under the surface, or do you think that this sort of superstition and the sort of influx of the evangelical churches is that something that's increasing?
Yes, like I said at the beginning of my speech, I said that what you do here, they inspire people around the world. That's what I said at the beginning of my presentation, and I mean that. You get it? Yeah. Yes, there's some influence there. You get it? But like I used to tell people, it's still like a drop in an ocean. Just like small oasis or something in the desert or something. So what we have is wilderness or superstition, but you see people doubting, and sometimes you need to sustain it. You get it? Sometimes, many of these people we're talking about are somehow organized and they have this international network, and all that. So sometimes, of course, we are not very as organized and we don't have that kind of, sometimes even the money. Yeah.
Oftentimes it's the money. Very often it's the money.
Yeah. Sometimes we have the money. Do you get it? Like I was telling you about the scholarships at the universities and things like that. So we don't have the money. And because of that, we are not really well in the city, as much influence. But and I must tell you that many people are doubtful about Obama's sense of Christianity in Africa, I must tell you. But when he came out in support of gay marriage,
Many people in this country are doubtful of his well.
So and when you listen to the way he made people to understand that they should not believe everything in the Bible. And I think in one of his books I read, I think the City of Hope or whatever, I don't know, where he talked about the fact that if we are to follow everything like Abraham, then you will end up in jail and things like that. These are things that many Christians, in Africa will say, no, this man, he's not a believer, he's not a true believer or something. Yeah, so they also have their influence, yes, they have their influence. And the activities of course, like when I try to bring up the issue of evolution and creation in the newspaper, in Nigeria, they said, oh, Leo wants to bring this American issue to Nigeria and all that. Yeah, so many people read the news, they read the internet, they know the debates here and all that going on. So what I do sometimes is that, if they're debating this thing, can we start debating it here? So when I write it, they say, oh, Leo wants to bring this American problem here and all that. So what I'm saying that the world is more together today than it used to be. So anything that happens here, within a few seconds, a Nigerian reads it, and before you know it, it's circulates. Yeah. So, and what I'm saying is this is an opportunity for us to spread the news. The good news of raising.
go with Ann, and then to the right after that. Go ahead.
Me?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, I don't know anything about Nigeria's infrastructure. You make me want to go home and find out. I wanted to ask you about schools. Are all the schools religious? Are there secular schools? Does the government, what does the government support there? And then the other thing is, I'm wondering whether some of the churches here, the Protestant churches especially, would not support you in your aim to raise money and things like that to protect children over there, even though you are personally an atheist. They are not atheists, those children. Those children are Christians, and I think that the atrocities going on with those children would be something that would get people in churches stirred up about, not just atheists.
Yeah.
And they of course have a bigger financial base than atheists do.
The schools. Now, this is the unfortunate reality. Schools are extensions of churches and mosques in Nigeria. Yeah. Even when they are called government schools, they are actually religious government schools. In other words, if it is in a state where Islam is dominated, you see it do things, they go about whatever they do in Islam. Oh, you know, this is Islam, and this is Islamic State or something. Now let me give you an example. In a public school in Gombe State in northern Nigeria, they were conducting an exam on Islamic studies, and one of the students came in with a Quran, because in many schools their examination malpractice is like a norm. Yeah, so the student came in with a copy of the Quran, and this teacher, a Christian, saw it and was angry, of course, and took the Quran, and just kept it. Well, they say threw it, and something like that. That was their way. But I know, I know when I was a teacher, when I see you cheat in the exam, how angry I would be. Just took the thing and maybe kept it by the side. That was all. They said the Quran, thrown that way on the floor. They shouted. There's something they shout. When they shout that, they lose their senses. You get it? So they mobilized and lynched the teacher. Listen, I'm not telling you what I read in books. I'm telling you what happened in my country. You can go Gombe State teacher Islamic school. Just put it on the Google. You get the story. Nothing has happened till today. The school is still going ahead. Nothing happened. I visited the man. How do you call it? That should be the widower, I think. The husband, or yeah. I visited the man. And he told me, he just wanted to move away, that he didn't want to get anything to be in the news and all that. So that was it, because he told me not to publicize, do anything and all that, because of what could involve that. He wanted to forget the man.
I'd be worried as well. Yeah. He wanted to forget, or he was scared for his life?
He was scared for his life, and he didn't want to be put in the news, because of the reaction and things like that. So nothing happened till today. You see it? So in a school, I'm telling you, a government school. So you can imagine what goes on there. So the same thing applies to, but not exactly the same thing, in other Christian schools and things like that. So the schools are extensions of mosques and churches. Yeah. So, and of course the teaching of evolution and creation, that's also an issue, Now, I taught in a private school. Yeah, private school this time. But what happens is that, and I came in, I was listening to one of the teachers. He was telling them, the children, to repeat, Jesus is your Savior. And children, you know what they will repeat? Jesus is your Savior. so the teacher was telling them, Jesus is your Savior. They said, Jesus is your Savior. It was a kind of problem. So, you know what she has to say now? Jesus is my Savior. And he said, they said, Jesus is my Savior. This is the way people are brainwashed. So early. So that when you grow up, you can't reason, you can't hold independent views. Let me just conclude with this. You have a second question, before I go to the second question. A woman came to our exhibition stand in Abuja. We were doing some exhibition of books. She's from the northern part. So when she came, so first of all, she saw one slogan: keep church and mosque, keep state and church mosque separate. So first of all, what she said was that if we keep mosque and state separate, where will we get money to finance our Sharia courts? Take note. Take note. You get it? Good. So that's an aside. Now she told us when we told her about atheists, secularists, and all that. She was just a kind of curious but not happy with us and all that. Yeah. So she when she was about to go, she told me that any of my children that leaves Islam, I'll have nothing to do with that child. This is a woman in Nigeria, they say she's enlightened, she's a radical female activist and things like that. So, you see, what I'm saying there is that the education we get is just certificate when it comes to religious issues. People shut down their thinking faculty. They're not. If the education does not get to this area, they prefer to be stupid when it comes. But they have certificates, doctors, professors. But when it comes to religion, they switch off. They now think like children. Yes. So there was a second question you talked about. Working with the Protestant, there's politics. There's politics. You see, you can't see it from here. I have an evangelical group that said that they wanted to work with me, but that they later changed their mind or something. That was the way they said it, Yes, they might tell you they are moved by it, but they still want to be sure that the contact person there is still somebody in their camp. That's the problem. So there's politics in it. And it's not seen. It's not very obvious, but there's politics in it. Yeah. And I must tell you this. Let it not be as if I'm saying it about them. I will be very careful in giving money to any evangelical person on this matter. Because of the fact, I must be very frank with you. Why? Because they will end up cornering the money into some kind of religious indoctrination. I work with them. Some of the children I rescued, Esther actually is with one of the private homes. Yeah, but because I didn't have an alternative and I didn't want to get into setting up homes, it's a huge task, and I didn't have the resources to manage it. So I kept Esther there because I didn't have a better alternative. Yeah, because at the end of it all, Esther will still grow up. His mind will be filled with the same stupid, nonsensical beliefs that brought her to it. That's kind of a vicious cycle. You rescue somebody who at the end of it all cause problem for people again. A vicious cycle of rescuing and victimization. That is it. So that's why I said I will be very careful. Yes, I will engage them like I'm telling you, but I will be very careful in giving them money. Yeah, because I know that it may not actually be used for what we agreed it to be used for. Yeah.
We have about 10 minutes for more questions, then we'll get up and go to the restaurant after this. So if you do have any extra questions, we don't get a chance to capture all the questions, he'll be there during dinner, and we could still continue the conversation. So I'm just going to go to Christine back there, and I'll sweep over to this side, and I'll get you on the way. But maybe about 10 minutes.
I read recently that women were being expelled from their villages as witches because they had red eyes. And the reason why they had red eyes is the cooking materials that they used inside of a closed cabin or hut or whatever caused their eyes to turn red.
Yeah.
So the question is, why doesn't somebody tell the villagers? If we know, why don't they know? Someone goes by and says, hey, they're using the wrong cooking materials, it turns your eyes red, and then go on to the next village. Instead, this continues. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, like I've said, superstition is poison. You see it? Immediately it gets into your mind, you can't think clearly. It corrupts. I said it corrupts their conscience. It also corrupts their sense of objective thinking. So when you go and try to give them alternative, in quote, alternative, I don't call it actually alternative because it's like the other one I'm giving it some kind of, validity also. No. If you try to give them explanations, rational explanations, they are not, nobody listens to it. They say, you know what they tell you? Oh, you are thinking like a white person. Yeah, because in Africa, it's white people that think. Black people don't think. Yeah, they said, oh, you are thinking like a white person. I wrote one article, on the internet. I said, critical thinking and African identity. I told her, I said, look, if rational thinking, if it's an African to be rationalist or to reason rationally, then I'm not an African. Yeah, I mean, so that's the way. So when you go to the village to say this, they say, oh, of course, if you as a person, which are complexion, you come there, they say, oh, that white woman. You know, white people and how they think. Do you see it? That's the way they say it. Let me give you an example. In Akwa Ibom State, I was involved in rescuing children like Esther and all that. So I went to one village. There were two kids, a girl and a boy. So they were sleeping in a police station, just on a mat. Mosquito infested, everything and all that. What happened? They confessed, in quote, they confessed to be witches, and they wanted to lynch them. So they now kept them at the police station, away from the village, because the mother was saying that she wasn't very sure. Maybe they could lynch or kill them any day. Wow, so what do I do? Okay, I took them to the Ministry of Women and Social Affairs or Development in the state. So when I went there, I told the woman that actually these children, they confessed to be witches. So she looked at me with what kind of very curious eye. What do you want us to do? That's the ministry that takes care of abandoned children and things like that. And I took the children to the ministry and they told me, what do you want us to do? So she now called the two of them and interviewed them. And told me, he said, look, Leo, these children said they are witches. Where do you think we can keep them? We can't keep them where we are keeping other children. You see, because the belief is that they will contaminate, they will infect them. Yeah, and all that. So what I'm saying there is that, number one, there isn't anybody even to do the explanation we're talking about. Because everybody subscribes to this. Or no, people don't want to be involved, actually, in they say I'm evangelical. That's what some of them say. This evangelism you want, this kind of evangelism, you want to do. Yeah. So that's the problem. Nobody is going to, and nobody will listen to you. So when I started persuading them that these are children, don't just believe what they're saying. These are children around 7, 6. I take them around, I give them, if I buy them food, and we dance around, we play and all that. Food, biscuits, clothes, toys. That's what they want. They're happy. They jump all over you. So I was telling them, I said, these children are not, forget about what they're saying. These that have been programmed, they have been traumatized, and they keep saying things they don't even know or understand. And somebody taught them what the word witch means in their local language and all that. They said, oh, Leo, you are thinking like that white woman. There's a white woman in the village and all that, helping in the campaign. They say, oh, Leo is thinking like it and all that. So that's the way they say it. And when they say you are thinking like a white person, it means that I'm not going to buy this idea. Oh, it might sound so wonderful, but I'm not buying it. So that's it. Yeah.
Next question over there.
These women who are either suspected or accused or convicted of witchcraft, do many of them tend to, I guess, reject their superstitious beliefs, or do they end up, I guess, remaining dedicated to them? Or do you have any knowledge of that?
Do they end up doing what?
Sticking to their beliefs, or do you find that, do any convert to atheism?
The victim.
After what they've done?
Yeah, like I said, atheism is a word, it's a taboo. Yes, in my society. When you mention the word atheism, people are scared. So I don't even mention it. I want with a lot of religious people that they don't even know that I'm atheist. Like I told you, I just don't need to ideologize what I'm doing for me to do it.
Right.
Yes, yes, for me, yeah, we can talk about it here because I can argue persuasively that you need some kind of atheistic, outlook or whatever I call it to do what I'm doing. But I want to say that I don't ideologize it, like we're saying it. What happens is that I've met Christians who are actually critical of witchcraft beliefs, but of course not critical of Holy Spirit and So, yeah. So, but you see, I try to engage them, that level of criticalness or whatever, criticality they have. You see it. So these women, some of them I met and encountered, some of the children I met and encountered, some of them will tell you, yes, I am not this. They said I did this. I don't know about this. Go and tell him to find the solution to his problem or her problem and all that. So that is the level where we go. You get it? And because we are actually interested in rescuing and all these people, so that's where the emphasis lies. So it's not like we're in debate. It's not that we're there to convert them or we're there to recruit new members. That's not this thing. Our mission particularly is just to rescue them and see how we can dispel the superstition that people can be witches and wizards. Yeah.
Gary? Go ahead.
I read that there was a correlation between the intensity of this problem of witchcraft in Nigeria and Kenya in particular. There's a correlation of promotion of Pentecostalism, not just evangelical, but Pentecostal in particular, that is being pushed from funding of the Pentecostal church in the United States. I'm doing a sort of blame America first approach to this, but that this type of Pentecostalism is being promoted by US missions in these countries and connected with cultural traditions. This problem of witchcraft is increased in correlation to that.
Yes. But do you know what I used to tell people? I grew up, when I was in the secondary school and all that, we read history. And they were telling us about slavery, colonialism. I asked them, come, don't we have a history before slavery? Don't we have history before colonialism? They made me to understand that we have nothing about African history except, slavery, colonialism, and of course what I discovered later, blame the West. Everything, till the white man came, white women, they never came, always white man, white man came, white West came and all that. I said, what? So does that mean that we can't talk about our history without talking about a white man? Without talking about the US and all that? So that is something that I find revolting personally. There's influence of the Pentecostal movement. Actually, the Pentecostal movement, the American Pentecostal movement, had a lot. I have this friend of mine, in quote, what do you call it? Bill Graham or something. Way to All Nations. We have there are a lot of influential American preachers. They come to Nigeria because you have a lot of people, to talk to, and they will use that and make you to understand that we're doing a lot of work in Africa. That kind of thing. I use it to raise money and build their church here and all that. So they have a lot, there's connections. But you see, there's a difference between working with people and also telling people what to do. Yes, I think that at the end of it all, here people are happy to say, oh, my church is working with that church. Look at the number of people that attended. Like myself coming here and tell you, oh, look at the work I'm doing in Africa, this and that and that, and you give me money, then I'll just go home and I'll use it to start doing some funny things. That's the way I look at it. Yes. So I don't want to put the blame on the Pentecostal church here. Yes. Count me out of that. Because I know that my people have their own sense of judgment, and they also, in quote, have their agenda. So when they get the support from here, they now use it to further whatever they want to do. Like Helen Opabio has some people cooperating with her here. But she goes home, she comes to Nigeria to promote her very nonsensical, idiotic, beliefs and ideas. Publish her books, publish the film and all that. Meanwhile, with some kind of support, with Pentecostal. Click on the word Pentecostal. What is in it? And all that. So there is that connection. Another thing for Pentecostalism in Nigeria is biblical literalism. They will read it. Thus says the Lord. Everybody keeps quiet and know what the Lord has to say. If you say kill, they kill. That kind of. Yeah. So biblical literalism. They read the Bible as it is and try to interpret it as it is. So and another thing is that they are reviving. There's this. With their literalism now, they're demonizing anything African and all that. So immediately it has nothing to do with the Bible and all that. They will say, oh, it's demon, and they go in there, with that, they try to demonize what Africans are doing and all that. This is not what should be blamed on American Pentecostals, but those principles, or whatever I call it, of Pentecostalism, they are spreading in Africa, and are you making African Pentecostals to justify what they're doing, without necessarily being endorsed by American evangelists. I must tell you this, but like I said, it's the same thing. Whether they are here trying to force creationism in schools and all that, or they are there also trying to demonize everything people do, like the issue of possession. Catholic Church has their exorcists, they practice exorcism till today. So there's no difference between what Catholic Church is doing and what Pentecostals are doing. They will just raise their hand and spread their head and Reke Poskorima, Shendra Buhara, they will just do. What is it? What's the difference? What's the difference? Yeah, they will tell you, oh, Catholic Church is more organized in their own. There's a way they do it. It's exorcism. Exorcism is exorcism. You believe that whatever evil can get into somebody, and that by laying hands on the person and babbling some meaningless syllables, that the thing just goes off. So it's the same thing. So that's what I'm saying. So it's an umbrella with different stuff, and people are doing it differently in different continents.
So in some respects, the Nigerians are using the American Pentecostals for their own agenda.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry, we were just running long, and that was the last question. But if you guys would like to come step up and speak a little bit more, or donate to the cause, the money will go directly, and it will be it will be tax deductible. So if you'd like to report on taxes, we can.
Yeah. If you write a check or use a credit card, make your donation to Atheists United, because it's not deductible to give to a foreign charity, but it's legal for us to give to a charity that forwards our mission.
So we'll go ahead and do that for you.
We'll go to them.
And I did notice a child in the back, and it reminded me that at our events now, we're doing children-centric events also. So every fourth Sunday, if you have a family, or if you have children, or know people that have children and have trouble getting out or finding events that they can bring their children to, we are setting up a special thing called AU Kids, and we've been doing it for several months now already. And every time about a dozen or so children come, and we're growing. So if you do have a family and you do have kids, bring them to the meeting. We have sort of like a secular school, secular Sunday school. I hate that we have to use that term, but that's sort of a thing. So we'll teach them about things like, one time they built clay models of what they imagined the Big Bang to be, and they talked about what the concept of that was. So they play and they learn, and then the parents can also take part in the take part in our lectures. So one more time, thank you very much. Thank you very much. So we're going to go to